Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to be diving into how to create a really fun and interactive quiz as a kind of lead magnet funnel and just like an all-around fun, engaging way to connect with your audience and share more about your work and what you do. So the inspiration for this video came because I've had quite a few people reaching out and asking me questions recently to get feedback on their own quizzes and things like that. And I've also been through a couple of quiz funnels that I was really impressed with. And it got me reflecting on the quiz that I had done a few years ago for TechWitch and how much fun I had with that, bringing the archetypes to life and then weaving the archetypes into my TechWitch school and the content. And it really made a really strong foundation for how that program was mapped out. And so me being me, I got all excited and I was like, okay, I'm going to create a training video so that I can support more people to bring quizzes to life. I've created really successful ones for myself and I've created really great ones for many clients over the years. So I can distill all of that knowledge and put it into a training video. And then, of course, I was like, well, if I'm going to create a training video on this, I want to do it around a fresh quiz, not an outdated one that I'm not using anymore. So then, of course, I spent the last week creating this new quiz, bringing it to life, setting up all of the assets and foundations that go with it. And now that quiz is ready. And I was like, great, now I can record this video. So here we are today. And I will be sharing all the ins and outs of how to create a really compelling and engaging and fun quiz for your audience, and also how to then actually connect that and integrate that and the funnels and sequences to actually make it like have more of a purpose than just be a fun quiz, like actually support you to lead people on a journey within your world. So the programs we'll be covering today is interact quizzes and how to integrate it with Kajabi. But again, like a lot of the things that I teach on, it can be done with different platforms. It's just to being aware of the integrations and the techie bits around how to do it. But what I share, you can then apply that to other platforms if you don't want to choose these specific ones. These are the ones I personally use and recommend. They're the ones I've used for many clients. And so this is what I can teach on. So anyway, I'm just going to jump in and share my screen and let's dive in and have a look at how to build a really fun and engaging quiz with interact quizzes. So before I actually take you through the process of how to do it, how about I actually show you some of my quizzes so you can see how they work. So there's the original one, which was my TechWitch one. And basically this was like designed around determining which TechWitch path would be most suited to you. So then you come into TechWitch school and you focus on, okay, I'm going to be a content witch, I'm going to be a course witch, I'm going to be a launch witch, or I'm going to be a design witch. And that way, whatever you're most inclined and direction that suits you, knowing which archetype is most suited to you, you then follow the roadmap. Now, that's not to say that all the other content in there is irrelevant, but it helps give people direction. So if you've got multiple kind of archetypes and things that you work with in your business, this can support people to come in and feel focused and clear and not be overwhelmed by if there's a lot of content in there. So, and this like leads people into knowing like there's a journey they're going on. This quiz is created with an ending in mind. So I know that my course tailors to this content and these archetypes. And so by having people feel a connection to that archetype before they even join the program or before they even invest, then they're already getting excited and already feeling curious around, okay, well, I kind of want to journey deeper with this archetype now. And so starting with the end in mind and thinking about what is the goal, what is my offer, what is the thing that I'm sharing with people, and what do I want to lead people into, So thinking about the ecosystem of your world and what makes sense and what your intention is really important before just slapping together a quiz that's not leading anybody anywhere. You want to have a clear purpose in mind. So this is the similar kind of thing that I'm doing with this quiz now. It's leading towards the Creatrix Coven. So inside the coven, there's all different content for different levels of business and different focuses. It's for maybe the more kind of people who have been so focused on business that they've lost their creative spark and they want to come in and learn like how to infuse the creativity and vision and that kind of stuff back into their business and bring in magic and ritual. Or there's the people that have like all these creative ideas and other visionaries, but they get bogged down on how do I actually bring this to life? What do I do? Where are the systems that support me to actually move forward and to hold the space to allow me to be in my creative visionary energy? And so there's 5 different creative archetypes that we work with inside the coven, and roadmaps that share, like if this is the kind of archetype you resonate with most, this is the content that's going to support you most. So people don't come in and get like super overwhelmed by, oh my God, like what do I do? There's a clear roadmap and pathway set out that relates to them. And so this one has 5 archetypes. There's the muse, the phoenix, the alchemist, the sorceress, and the oracle. And so each of these energies would approach business differently and would approach the content differently. And so when I was creating this quiz, I wasn't just creating this like as a fun exercise. I have an end vision in mind, and that way I'm working backwards and knowing like I want to lead people to engage and feel inspired and feel connected to the coven. And this is a fun way for them to start connecting with the archetypes. And in my experience with clients that I've created quizzes for and with quizzes that I've engaged with, this is what works like really well, is when you get people already connecting to the content that's inside the paid offering, then they're more likely to want to come in because then they feel like they relate to this piece and they want to learn more about this piece and they want to dive deeper and journey deeper, and they feel this connection to this energy and this archetype. And so if you can weave that in, then that's going to draw people into the experience. So just thinking about that when you're coming up with a quiz, like it's not just about, oh, I just feel like creating a quiz today. There's like an actual intention behind it, and it's a drawing people into your world and like giving them an experience of what it's like to be inside your world. So how about I just take you through the quiz, so you can get a taste for how this one has gone. I'll take you through the most recent one. So I'm not going to actually like go through every answer. I'm just going to click things so you can see. Lo and behold, I am the muse. But so this is what happens after. So people are brought straight to the answer. So they're not then waiting to get something in their inbox that they're going to forget about later. It's in the moment. So they enter their details and they get it straight away while they're engaged and in that energy. And so that's another thing to consider, is having all of these pieces ready. You need to know, like, before you can create the quiz, you need to know what's the purpose, what's the offer it's leading to, and what are the archetypes or the personalities that I'm working with. And this is assuming you're going to do a personality archetype quiz. Like there's obviously different types of quizzes you could do as well, but this is the kinds that I've created for most of my clients and the kinds that I've engaged with. So this is the way I'm going to be speaking about it. Also, like especially in business, like people are always wanting to relate something back to themselves and like feel like they're seen and feel like they're part of something. And so when you can create these characters and create these archetypes that they resonate with, then it's like they see themselves embodied in that and they feel drawn in and they want to start working with that deeper. And that's definitely what I experienced with the Tech Witch one. Like, I even created a movement where it was like, who can embody the archetype the best? Like, because they were made up ones, they're not archetypes that actually exist. They were like me just making up the content witch, launch witch, project witch, and things like that. And so I ran competitions like, when you get your answer, do like dress up and create content around your archetype and bring this archetype to life. And then the best person is gonna get to have like something that's related to Tech Witch School. So these are fun like add-ons that you can do to generate momentum and like get the word out and get other people sharing the quiz. So yeah, having all the content ready before you actually start creating is really, I think, important. Like knowing where you're leading people to before you actually start creating questions is kind of important. And so then like on each answer page, you have something that's actually going to support people to start working with. So it's not just like pitching them straight away. It's like, actually, here's some stuff that will support you with this archetype or this energy. So some things that I've done is I've got like a little hello, and then it's like the goals of the muse, the traits to embody, potential setbacks, some people to draw inspiration from, what to expect as you embark on this journey. And then I've also done like a spoken version, so catering to people who read or people who prefer to listen on the go, so they can access the audio, maybe quotes or affirmations, some steps to embody, a playlist, and journal prompts. So think about what relates, and then it goes into my, hey, the coven is here if you want to learn more about that. But it doesn't go straight into that. So these are the kinds of things you could think about incorporating, and rather than saving it all for the emails, you put it there straight away. So it's got that, it's bringing their attention in as you're all like already in the moment and when it's alive and exciting for them. So that's kind of like the journey of the quiz, and like then they'll obviously get the email sequences. So if I go into my email, my creative archetype is inside. And so I've set that up. So each individual archetype has its own email sequence. So this is where the techie stuff comes in as well. So, and then there's like the guide has also been turned into a PDF. So this same thing that they get here, they get in a downloadable PDF. And then there's a photo template that they can share to stories to spread the word and engage. And that these are things you can do as well, like have all of these assets ready to go so that the post experience after completing the quiz is also engaging and drawing people more into your world and like really inspiring them to be in your world and to invite other people into your world. So that's the email sequence. And this is why you need an email platform to link it to, because you don't just want it to end at the quiz. Like, think about the purpose of the quiz is to bring people into your world. It's a lead magnet. So you're leading people in, and then you want to be able to nurture them and follow them up and connect with them in deeper ways. So that's when having an email marketing platform on the back end is going to be important. So now that we've spoken about like how the quizzes work and what types of quizzes you can create, how do you actually do the thing? So firstly, in Interact Quizzes, you want to come and you want to click Create New Quiz, and then you'll have a few options here. You can create from scratch, you can make a quiz with AI, or you can start from a quiz template. So making a quiz with AI is okay. What I would recommend though is you really need to have a clear idea of your offer and your intentions, and like really give it as much detail as possible, and actually then go and infuse your personality into it. So don't just populate it and be done. Like actually then work with it and edit things and bring your flavor and your flair into it so that it doesn't just feel like an AI generated quiz. Because this this is the whole thing. It's like, it's about putting like love and devotion into it so people feel that and feel that nurturing and feel that like excitement about being part of the quiz and feel that it's not just here to collect an email. It's actually something that you have been excited to create, and it's something that is going to nurture them and nourish them. So yeah, that's the only thing I would say about doing it with AI, is actually like making sure you add your flavor. Or you could use one of the templates. So I just start from scratch these days because I've made so many that, like, for myself and for clients, that I just know how I want to do it. But if you wanted to start from a template, then you can just come in here and there's like some that you could start with. And again, like, make sure you make it your own though, add your own flavor and flair. Don't just click that and be like, yep, that's done, and use the quiz that's in there. Add your own, but they've got all different industries here. So you can come in and choose one and then work with what, like, bringing your own unique questions and elements into it. And so let's say we chose this one, we go use template. And then this is where you'll do your editing. So you can just click wherever you want to edit. Update titles, update descriptions, update the branding. So you can add your own colors here, and update the image, add your own image, and then you come into the questions. Now, my suggestion here would actually be to work on the results first. So putting in the results. So then as you're building the questions, you're correlating them to the correct result. So you don't need to go and put in all the information yet, but just have the results here ready to go. So then as you're building out the questions, you can edit them and make sure they're correlating to the correct answers. So you would just come here and you can move them around if you have to. And that's how you make sure that the answers are going to the right places. And again, like, changing the questions. So the same way as you would have edited the front page, you're just clicking on things. You can remove a question, you can add more questions. My suggestion would be keeping it between 5 to 9 questions. You want to like have people engaged and you want to take them on a little bit of a journey, but you don't want it to start feeling like work for them. You want it to be something that's a quick, snappy, exciting, fun exercise that gets them to the answer. Like, that's what they're there for. They want to know what their answer is. So you want to get them to that. You don't want to keep them like going through 20 questions and like making it this in-depth analysis. That's not the point. The point is to get them to the point where they actually want to get the answer and not give up halfway through. So bringing them to that journey, and that way they're going to want to enter their details to get their result. So once you're happy with your questions and you've linked all the results up properly, then the next thing to do is to sort out the lead generation. So you want to turn it on, and I would recommend asking for the first name and the email address so that it's actually transporting then those details to your email platform. I turn that off. It depends. Sometimes I leave that on. If you're in the UK, you need to make sure you're doing the GDPR compliant. So just think about that, how you want that settings to be, and then edit the form. You can edit the color, and once you're happy with that, save and continue. Now, depending what email platform you're using, it may integrate directly, or you may need to use Zapier. So for Kajabi, which is my platform, I have to do it via Zapier. So you would just click on Zapier, and then it will connect to your Zapier account. Now, I've already set this up before, so it already has my API key and stuff in there. But if you haven't, then you could go to Zapier, get your key, put it in here, and then link them together, and then you go activate connection. And then you wouldn't test the integration until you've actually come to Zapier and set up the integration. So then you log into Zapier, and I'll show you how it's set up. What you can do with Zapier these days is use their AI, and it just generates it to you. So you can literally say, I want to send interact quiz leads to the Kajabi email list. And then it will use the AI to show you how to, like, what Zap to set up. And so it's already got that. So it's got new lead, interact, create form, submission, Kajabi. So I'm not going to do it because I've already got it set up, but that's what I've got here. So creative archetype quiz leads to Kajabi. And then in here, you would come and you would configure it. So the setup is the new lead in interact for this quiz. And then it's on. So I'm not, I'm not going to edit the Zap because it's on and functioning, but that's what you would do. You would just click through the steps and configure it. And then you click through the Kajabi steps and configure that, decide what you want to map across. My recommendation would be to also add a third one, which will then tag what quiz result they get, because then that's how you can actually email the separate people based on their answers, rather than just having like one blanket email that goes out to every person, like where you have to then like be generic. You can get really targeted and map the answer across. So then you can actually send emails based specifically on, this is your answer, this is the spiel I'm going to give you. And so it's a bit more work to create 5 different sequences or 4 different sequences, but it's going to be a lot more personalized and a lot more targeted and a lot more engaging. So taking that extra time and effort is actually going to work out better in the long run. So once you've set that up in Zapier, then you come back to interact and you go test integration. And so then you can send a lead to your list. I'm not going to do that right now. And then when you're happy, you just hit publish. So that is how you create a quiz and link it with Kajabi. Now, I'm going to delete that because I don't need that quiz. Then what you want to do is in Kajabi, you're going to come, you probably have to do this step before you publish the quiz so that you're testing it properly, or before you do the Zapier. So to be able to map that tag across, you have to come and create a custom field in your Kajabi form. So that's how it then picks up that those are the things that need to be filled out. And then in your form, you can set up an automation. So when the form is submitted, a person gets tagged based on their answer. So that's how you then create the email sequences to follow up from the form. So then I come to my email campaigns and I've got the 5 different sequences here. Now, what I would recommend is having the main sequence and so having like your 5 emails mapped out for each one, and then write one whole sequence, and then you can clone that, and then all you need to do is like change the elements rather than starting from scratch each time. So for instance, if it was the Muse one, the subscribe trigger is when the tag is added. So the Muse tag, they get subscribed to this sequence, and then it takes them through the different emails. So I've got a welcome email, I've got another email where it's like more going into what the muse is, then it's my journey with it, then it's useful tips, and then there's an invite to the coven. So again, it's not like a full-on like, hey, you've given me your email and now I'm just going to tell you to join my stuff. I'm actually providing resources and sharing insights and bringing them on a deeper journey into the world of the coven and into the world of the archetype so that they can actually get a feel for what they'll experience within this. And if that feels really overwhelming and like, oh my God, how am I going to create all this stuff? Then you could work with something like ChatGPT and like get it to support you to bring like map out it. I wouldn't get it to write the emails for you, but I would get it. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. But I would get it to actually just say, like, I'm creating a quiz. These are the answers. These are the archetypes I'm working with. How do I create, what kind of emails do I need in the sequence to move people and like let it know your offer and what the goal of the quiz is and all of that. And then what it'll do is it'll give you like a map of week 1, send these emails, week 2, these emails, and so on. And so what you can do as well, and what I've done is you might have seen that beyond the 5 archetype sequences, there's a main sequence. So once the final email gets sent in the individual archetype sequence, then they get transferred to the main sequence where it does become more generic. Like you've learned about your archetype. Now I'm going to teach, like, share more with you around all the archetypes, and I'm going to invite you deeper into the world of the coven and share what it's all about and all of that kind of stuff. So that's how you're taking people on a journey. And my recommendation with the emails is to like only send like one every maybe like 2 to 3 days. I'm not a fan of like the daily emails, but it's all about testing your audience and what like checking the stats and tweaking where it needs to be tweaked. But that is essentially how, oh, sorry, one other thing I want to show you is how to be really organized. So what I have is in my Google Drive quiz folder. And so each archetype has its own folder. And then within that folder, it's got the graphics that I'm using in the email. So I've created a graphic for which they are, the graphics that get added to the email for people to download and share to their stories, the PDF that gets shared, and the audio that gets shared. And so then it's really easy because all you need to do is copy the share link and upload that in places. So you're not having to upload stuff to random places. It's just all organized in your Google Drive. And that's a really easy way to share the content. And then you can have a checklist for the steps you need to follow, and you can have like so this is an example of the email sequences. So like the email 1, quiz results and welcome. Email 2, deep dive into the archetype. And then it goes into week 2 is more like around the generic, like how do you weave these archetypes into your business in general, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what I meant. Like you can then work on this over time. Like the most important thing is to get those first few emails done, and then you can work on the other emails later over time, because then people are moving through the sequence and it's going to take them at least a week and a bit to get into that main sequence anyway. So once you have those first days mapped out and have all the sequences, then you can start sharing the quiz. But I hope that supports and gives some insight. If you want to try Interact or Kajabi, I have links to trials and discounts under this video. And if you want to take the quiz that I shared with you in this video and see what your creative archetype is, then that link, is also under this video. And if you'd like to join the coven and dive deeper and like get more of this kind of lessons, this is what we cover inside the coven. A lot of this kind of stuff around how to bring stuff to life, like so that your creations can actually have the systems and automations and techie stuff to support you and to create like this ecosystem that's nurturing and this world that brings people together and all of that kind of stuff. So this is just a taste of the kind of stuff we do inside the coven. There's pre-recorded content like this, and then there's also live workshops and Q&A calls. So 2 of those a month at the moment, which may change in future as we grow bigger. And then loads of other stuff in there too, and the roadmaps to know which journey to go on with your archetype. So yeah, I'd love to see you in there. And thanks for watching. I will see you in another video some other time. Bye for now.